my penmanship book, I talk about the writing masters. The most important writing master for me personally was Alfred Fairbank. In 1972, I found his book, which is called A Handwriting Manual. This book became my constant companion for a couple of years, and I absorbed as much as possible from it until finally I managed to join the society which he created, the Society for Italic Handwriting, and also I set out on a journey to the United Kingdom at a time when he was still alive, and I was able to speak with him and also to receive some instruction. So this is the book that I have, one of his editions. This is the book on a handwriting manual. I have several editions of it, and I was even given a very old edition of the book at one stage by someone who gave it to me in 1995 to put it into safekeeping, because it was the original volume from 1932, and it was the property of a Carl Winters, and this is the original volume. This book had a great effect upon the students and the dons at Oxford and Cambridge, because it was the introduction of this book by Alfred Fairbank, who was a civil servant and had amazingly good penmanship, that converted the students and the dons to italic handwriting, which was the script of the Renaissance. And they abandoned the copperplate script that had been in vogue from the 1800s and started to study from this book the Dryad writing cards, and which showed them how to do it. He also had examples of the writing of the Renaissance in the book. It was when I saw those examples of the writing of people like Leonardo da Vinci and others who had manuscripts in the Bodleian Library in Oxford, that I fell in love with the idea of writing the italic hand. So that was the number one handwriting master for me. The book is now out of print, unfortunately, but as you can see, copies are available on the second-hand market, and I'd advise you to acquire a copy of that book so that you can delve further into this amazing Renaissance hand. Reg Phillips was a writing master who influenced me greatly. I found his book in the early 1970s, and I was privileged to go and meet him in 1978. He taught me that the stylistic approach to penmanship was not the only approach, and perhaps for a student it was better to improve the ability to manipulate the pen rather than to slavishly copy the italic hand, which had been the practice in Oxford, where he actually lived and worked for the years since Alfred Fairbank's time. So he was working on ways to improve people's handwriting without actually changing their style. So this was a great eye-opener for myself, and I have studied deeply. I managed to sit with him and learn from his book. So Reg Phillips, whose book I have here, which is also very hard to obtain now, was a great man, a former military man who worked in India in the civil service. His father had a pen shop and stationery business on the High Street in Oxford. He was a great pen shop owner, and he was an absolute magician with pens. He also invented many things to test the angle at which the pen was being used. He had He was an inventor by nature, and so he invented his own system of teaching penmanship. So he was an important writing master for me. Also, Frederick Marns was a very important writing master for me as well, because he taught me about the universal line of beauty, a line which rotates anti-clockwise and clockwise and forms the basis of everything that is beautiful in nature. Leaves, flowers, trails, rivers, mountains, clouds are all formed using the universal line of beauty. In order to understand that, Frederick Marns gifted to me a book by Marsilio Ficino, a master from the Renaissance. Marsilio Ficino was the tutor to the great Medici family, and he was the one who translated Plato from Greek to Latin. So his book also explains many things, and these letters, this is only volume 1 of his letters, and there are 13 volumes. So that is another excellent book to acquire if you would like to be a serious penman. Thank you. I think that's enough on my writing masters, and I hope you find those books. They're all out of print.